Here we are.
Cool, I see you. Where am I?
It should be on the side.
Alright, it's just a black screen for right now. There I am. Cool. Alright, hey everyone, welcome to this stream. Sorry for running a little bit late. Well, technically we're a bit early. Depends how you read it. Whether it's 5 p.m. EST or 90 minutes after. You know, relative or absolute, you pick your poison. One thing that I will say is this stream is going to be exciting. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff to show you. Specifically, it's a highly anticipated feature. A lot of people have been talking about this, and that's why I think this stream is especially 23. Nice, that's awesome. Yeah, you saw Abby was posting on our chat about that. Mine says 9:24, so you're a bit later than me. Yeah, but today's stream is exciting. The big reason why is because messaging is pretty tough. Like, whenever you have systems that communicate with one another, it always introduces so much complexity. And particularly, like, you really have to be well-intentioned with how you architect your messaging solution and kind of what features you want to give it. So even though you've kind of architectured it perfectly, we heard from you that there's a lot of boilerplate involved. And there's a lot of stuff that you have to kind of think about and run into edge cases. Like, for example, one simple one, right, Lewis? If you don't return true in the message handler, there's going to be an error or something like that, right? Something ridiculous. So there's all these little gotchas and all these little intricacies. And when we build Plasmo, the first thing, and you can see it in our README, we haven't changed this since we created Plasmo. We want people to build their extensions and not worry about the intricacies of extension development. And this was like a huge intricacy. What the heck is the point of returning true and stuff? You don't have to worry about that because now we have this messaging feature. It's going to do everything for you. And all you have to think about is, I want to send a message from this component of my extension to this other component. And here we're not talking about any sort of view library components, but rather the extension components, the content scripts, the background service workers, and so on. So really excited to show that. And then we have two big changes as well on the Itero side. So we kind of like, that's not our framework. That's actually the product suite that we offer for people that want to take their extension to the next level and actually iterate really quickly on it without a review process. And there we have some exciting fixes and also a new feature to help people who want to have more seats. So with that, Louis, you ready to take it away? And let's dig into this messaging feature.
Yeah. Violet, can you hear me? He's asking. Oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Just making sure you can hear me. And also, can you see my screen share as well on your end?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it works perfectly.
All right. So we have the new changelog updated with the framework. So the framework here, we have the messaging section, right? So we talk a little about the messaging API and what Stefan was just talking about. And actually, so I've been working on the documentation for that. So let's see how that's been going. We actually did a little bit of refactor on the documentation as well. We move a lot of stuff around, so it might be a bit new for a lot of people actually. Okay, as long as you know what, Brave is getting free advertisement there.
Would you like me to screen share?
It might be faster, to be honest. It might be faster, but
let's do it. Why not?
I haven't pushed everything on the. I haven't pushed everything though. I haven't pushed everything on the messaging API. Okay, I got it now. So here we are.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Yeah. So here we are on the new documentation. We have the framework. So now, the main section that we have on the documentation are welcome, framework, Itero and quick start. So everything in the framework should now be under the framework section. And the new addition that we've added is the messaging API. So let's go right there. Let's go right to the messaging API. Oh lord. Okay, here we go. Finally, it took a while for it to like get to that page because I think because I'm streaming from my laptop. That's why. All right. So right now the messaging API has 3 flows. We have the message flow. Let's go to what is the message flow? The message flow is basically a way for developers to easily send message to the background script and then receive an asynchronous response back. And that's pretty much it. So the use case of this feature would be like when you want to like deferring some heavy computation to the background service, or you want to bypass cores. This is especially for content script. So for example, when content script trying to fetch some resources that is not within the domain of the parent web page, right? It will actually be restricted by cores potentially, and most likely. And so to prevent that issue, the content script can set up, so you can set up this kind of scheme. So first you would have a background service worker with the message handler. A message handler look just like a REST API handler. It's basically a handler function. You export a handler function with a request and a result object. And because we have the message handler interface here, the request and REST should have all the typing for you when using TypeScript. You have all the ItaliCents. And then on the background service worker, we simply query some API, right? Given the body of the request, and then we can send back some stuff, right, back to our content script. And then in our content script, or here in a pops up, right? The example here is a pops up. It can be done in a content script too. You would import a send to background method from the Plasma HQ messaging library, and then you would send to background the name. You send to background the name of the message handler and the body of your request. And this basically is very similar to a REST API basically. And let's take a look at what it looked like, right? So over here, I actually have the example open, and here I have the pops up. I just want to show the cool thing about this is that because Plasma parse the background directory for the message handler and constructing all the typing configuration for you. This thing actually has the name. It has IntelliSense, so I can do like this. It actually has all the name of the message that I want to send to, that I have created of all the message handler.
Got it. Louis, can you create a new one and then show that flow as well, kind of like a new message type?
Sure. So the idea is that now let's go. You can go to message. We can actually also add nested message as well. As you can see, if it's nested inside directory, it will be separated by a slash. The same way that you would do that. Oh my god, it's saving. Hey, this might be a tall order for my laptop, to be honest.
Yeah, like saying files is very CPU intensive, that's for sure.
I know, right?
How is it? Oh, because it's running prettier, and that's probably CPU intensive.
Yeah, perhaps. Okay, let me just. Well,
do you want me to run it on my end?
Do you have everything? Do you have everything running on your end?
I can get it running in like 2 minutes, and we can actually show how people can do that as well.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. By the way, so the one thing is that you have to make sure that
Yeah.
you
Okay.
have
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So setting everything up. So one thing to have IntelliSense working, you have to make sure you have to have the Plasma dev server running, so that it can instrumenting the background message directory to create the type file, the type
Yeah.
declaration.
We'll run into all those issues and figure everything out.
All
Yeah,
right.
that makes sense. Okay, let me share my screen. Unfortunately, Lewis's laptop is basically a toaster, so we're gonna use my laptop for the time being.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's just
here we
go. Okay. Let me. Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah. Let me stop sharing. The thing, so the reason why I'm toasting right now is because I'm actually sharing my screen once to you directly, and secondly to OBS. So it's sharing three times.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's sharing. Yeah,
Nice.
basically, I'm.
By the way, could you? Oh, no, go ahead.
What's that? Could I?
Um, yeah. Could you just not show my screen for a moment?
Okay. Yeah, I'm not showing it. I'm not showing anything at the moment, by the way.
Okay, cool. Give me a sec. All right, cool. Can you share my screen now to the world? Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay, demo screen share. Adding your stuff. All right. Everything should be there now?
Awesome. Okay, so first things first, we do a Plasma create.
Yeah. Oh, you have to do
Let's see
canary.
which
You have to do
message.
canary though.
Um,
Plasma mode canary.
all right. Searching. Cool. Let's begin this. And messaging. All right. So one of these is going to be Team Dev. The other is code. All right. And then we're gonna look through this. So, Louis, this is the exact same project that you were just showing, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, over here, we have hydrate options.
Mm-hmm.
If I do IntelliSense, I can see hydrate options. I can see nested slash. Here comes the message. And I can see send transaction.
Mm-hmm.
These correspond with the files that are located in my messages folder.
Yeah.
So IntelliSense works in that regard. So Louis, if I copy over a file, let's say I copy this one, and then I rename it to amazing thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I save it. If I go to my my pages and look at IntelliSense, now I can see amazing thing here, right?
Yeah.
How is that done?
Wow, how cool is that, huh? So the trick is that the Plasma server dev server, right?
Like under the hood, I'm curious, like how it's done.
Yeah, I was want to explain it, right? So the Plasma dev server under the hood, so it parses the background.
I think we have a lag. That's why.
I have a lag. Oh. Oh,
Yeah, like it took 5 seconds to respond. I think we have a lag. That's why there's, yeah, just know that there's a lag.
by the way, are you watching the Twitch stream, or are you using that app?
I'm doing both.
Oh, okay.
But
Uh,
I have gigabit internet. It shouldn't matter.
okay. Anyhow, okay, we can account for the lag delay, I guess. But basically, the idea is that the Plasmo framework it parsed through the um, the messaging directory, right? And then it look up all the file, and then it's constructing all the handler and put them all in the .plasmo directory, and also construct a messaging.dots, the declaration file inside the .plasmo directory. So you can see there's a message.dots there, message.dots, that has a list of all of the route or message available. And as you can see, it's separate message API from the port API as well. Yeah. Eventually in the future, so one thing that I want to do in the future is actually we can actually import in the type of those, the request body type of each of those event as well, so that we can actually do auto infer type from from the messaging API. And that'll be interesting. So you didn't have to do manual typing anymore. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's some really cool stuff here, and I think this kind of highlights. We talk about what makes Plasmo different from a template. I think this is the power of Plasmo. We're really shining, right?
Yeah.
Having a CLI. So when we do this Plasmo dev thing, it's actually watching our file system, right? It's watching all the files that are added, deleted, and so on, and it can actually generate code for us based on that. And that's what makes it so powerful, the ability to
And
do that.
the okay,
And
and
it
so
really shines here.
and I actually want to avoid using the term code generator, because we actually not generating code that should be accounted for by the developer, right? The code we generating are glue code that's totally like, it can be transparent behind the scene. Everything's behind the scene, and then we have also a bundler. Plasmo also has a custom bundler strictly for extension that take all the glue code that we have generated together with your code to create the final bundle for the extension, right? And that's how we can actually take all those code and provide the runtime for your extension. Thus, you don't have to worry about any code that we generate at all. Unlike, for example, with GraphQL, for example, you have to generate the schema for GraphQL to use the TypeScript, right? And so a lot of projects would have to commit those the schema to the repo, right? So a lot of time code generator require people to think about the code that is being generated. I hate the dog. Okay, let me one sec. Yeah.
Sure. So in his fight for better sound, uh, Lewis Lewis has two mortal enemies where he lives. One are the dogs. I think there are two dogs. Whenever a stranger passes by, they will bark like mad. And then the second is, it's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's a frog. We thought it was a bird before. It sounds just like a bird chirping, but it's actually a frog that is native to, I don't know, I think the Caribbean, I guess. And that frog is super annoying. Right now, you can hear it, which is awesome. I think yesterday we recorded a podcast a couple days ago, and you could hear the frog like crazy in the background. I had to edit it all out. But yeah, anyway.
And my
Um, yeah, Lewis, this reminds me a little bit of when I was working at Uber. We use Golang, and Golang is heavy on code generation, like super heavy.
mm-hmm.
And it's not it's not the kind of code generation that you were talking about with GraphQL, where it's in your kind of like in your directory and you have to commit it. Rather, it's sort of like you can think of the code generation that it has similar to this, where it's very transparent. And it's funny you use that word because that's exactly how I would word that as well. And the cool thing about stuff like this is, there's languages like Ruby, which are very opaque. and seem very magical. And it's really hard to figure out like why did this thing happen. Like there's a lot of inferred stuff and a lot of stuff like that. And that's what's really cool about stuff like CodeGen, because when we generate this code, you know exactly how it works because you can just see it, right? And then we just go ahead and bundle it, which is awesome. Like this is another case, right? Or like the case of the mounting. We make it super easy to do that. Where can we see kind of over here where it does the messaging stuff, where it actually generates the code for messaging to handle all the messaging stuff?
Right there, yeah.
Is it this one?
Yeah.
This is so cool because now what you can do is you can actually see, like if you're curious, you never have to touch this, but if you're curious, you can actually see that the framework is actually building all of this for you, and this is where it's really powerful, right? So super neat. We kind of uncovered the cartoon a little bit and showing you how it kind of works, but yeah, it's amazing. All right, no longer hear the dog. Amazing, Louis, you did it.
You know what? Next time I have to.
So
Next
awesome.
time when the dog bark.
What?
Yeah, we have a lag there. I want to say next time when the dog bark, I think I might have to play some YouTube video with the dog barking as well. You know.
Yeah, play like wolves howling or something. Get it really scared.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of dogs respond to wolves howling by not barking anymore. That's kind of what my old dog used to do.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I never had a dog. Okay, so what I want to also show here is going from a content script and using a relay, Louis.
Mm-hmm.
So what is this relay stuff and why is it useful?
So there are cases where you cannot send message directly to background service worker. And one of the key cases is actually if you have a web page, for example, I have a web page that I host on classroom.com, right? Or in this case, we actually have a Next.js project demonstrating that case in this project. And I have the web page, and I want to communicate between the web page and my background service worker and my extension, right? So because the web page has no Chrome runtime context, right? It cannot send data directly to background service worker. So, but there's still a way, right? When there's a will, there's a way, right? You know. And the way to do so is to use this new concept we created called relay. And a relay is really so a relay live in the content script, and because so first let's backtrack a little bit. We have the web page and we have the background service worker, right? How do we send message from our web page to a background service worker? We have to inject something to the web page.
So before we go into it, unfortunately, I think there's going to be a lag, so it's going to sound like we're interrupting each other. Before we go into it, when would a web page want to send a message to a background service worker?
I would say, for example, a web page that is extension aware and actually expecting the extension to inject something to the web page, right? So I want to provide extra data. Let's say, hey, I would like you
like a crypto wallet or
precisely. Hey, I want you to inject Ethereum wallet into my page, or instead of injecting other wallet, right? Stuff like that along the line. It can also actually provide information to authenticate user too, if it's more powerful, right? So it's not just crypto wallet. It can actually sending like access token if it want to the background service worker to do some work for it.
And the access token. So the access token is kind of like, and this is an example, actually, a feature request that we got a couple of days ago. I'm still working on it, but someone was saying, how can I log my extension users in by them visiting my website where they're already logged in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine I have like a YouTube extension, and I'm Google, right? I have YouTube extension. I want it so that when my user goes to YouTube, the YouTube website will automatically send a message to my YouTube extension saying, hey, this is user XYZ. They have been authenticated, whatever, and they would use something like this, right?
Yeah, this is a case where JOT token is very powerful, right? Because it's very portable. It's portable, transmittable, so you can throw it everywhere. And sure, there's some security kind of aspect of it, but as long as you can ensure that your token is short-lived, which is usually about 15 minutes to less, the length of the session, right? 15 minutes to an hour, right? And generally, I think that should be fine. That's actually how mobile app work, by the way. So that's the security model for mobile app, right? Which is this: you have this JOT token that you're sending around because there's no cookie mechanism on mobile app for mobile app on native app. So most native app rely on this kind of token scheme to kind of retaining their to locking user in.
Got it. I just left a comment here. So a lot of people have probably only read or written this before. So back when I didn't ever hear it said out loud, I always said JWT, but it turns out the actual way of saying it is JOT. So for people that don't know, when Lewis is saying JOT, he's referring to the JSON web token. That's kind of how you pronounce that. Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. So, that would be now that we have this thing, and once we actually kind of launch it to the latest Plasma version, it would be amazing as I work on that example to actually include this in as well, because that's going to be really powerful. And one other thing, Lewis, that I'm curious about is in the pop-up. So let's go into the pop-up here. I guess you have tabs. You don't really have a pop-up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the tabs here, you have this thing called use port. Can you dive a little bit deep into that?
So, wait. I feel like we're skipping the whole relay.
Okay, yeah, let's go back to relay.
No, I mean because right. I thought we were talking about relay, right? We haven't finished on it, did we?
What did you want to cover here?
Well, so the idea is that the idea of the relay is so that a web page can send some data to the background service worker. A relay would basically, but then there's no direct way, right? There's no direct API to send message from background service worker. From your web page to background service worker. So you have to first inject something to the web page, and that something would be a content script, right? Content script can live in the context of the web page, and actually listening to event emitted by the window message API. And so leveraging that idea, we have a thing called relay. A relay would basically you basically attach a relay on the content script that is basically living on the web page that matched by that config, right? The Passmo config. So only this web page will be able to relay message down to our extension, right? So there's certain control that the extension developer can do. And then, so with this relay, you can now send data from web page to the background service worker extension by calling send by relay. And the API is very similar to send to background, basically.
Okay, so got it. Going here, this is our, so just to make this very clear, right? Pages refers to Next.js page.
Precisely.
This is some website,
Precisely.
right? This is not an extension thing. This is a website.
Yep.
And this is exporting React component. It looks a lot like a Plasmo concept because we have a very similar idea around exporting React components and stuff and using file-based kind of declarative configs. But this is actually a website page with Next.js.
Yep.
Now, you're saying here, Lewis, that this website uses a send via relay thing, and you're saying that this actually posts a message in the window, right?
Yep.
And we have this content script that attaches to this particular website and no
Precisely.
other one,
Mm-hmm.
and allows for a relay to exist with that name. And it must
Precisely.
be the exact same name,
Yeah.
and it must attach to that website. No other website and no other name will work.
Yeah.
And what is the final step? Now that we have these two things set up and the content script performs this relay function, it relays to the background service worker, right? Where do we see that? How do we implement that?
Well, on the background service worker, you have the same, right? You just have the message handler, basically. Yeah. So there's nothing special on the message handler at all. Oh, so basically there is actually you can actually attach like you can
So
attach
this the function just like a background.
yeah. You can actually do do request or req dot and see what's inside. So inside req, there's actually a couple property for you to know if it's coming from a relay as well. You can send extra data, extra header in the relay to also to identify your message. Yeah. Oh no, not the relay. So the relay is like a it's like the relay is like a kind of like a tower, a cell tower. It's like a cell tower. The metadata, yeah, the metadata would comes with the relay itself. So you can attach a random ID or some type of ID that you know belong to this relay. And on the other side, you can then, do that. Like you can use the relay ID to work with it. Yeah.
Got it.
And the idea of this is it abstract all that message port thing, all the port message posting and stuff is gone. All you have to worry about is import the library, call the API, call the message handler on your background service worker, and as long as you have a relay that allowing your website to do so, you're good to go. You can also so the relay itself can also have a handler method to do stuff with the to do stuff to handling the message as well on the content script if you want to. For example, you can use a relay. For example, when you click a button on your web page, for example, you can have the content script do something on the UI of the web page even. Yeah, and the relay has two API. It has the right now this is the functional API, but there's also a hook, a use relay hook that you can use inside your content script UI. In which case, you can actually use it to do like more powerful stuff on the UI of the web page itself.
Okay. How do we do that?
So import use relay from hook,
Use relay.
yeah, slash hook. So you have to use a messaging slash hook. We separate them. We separate the bundle out, and you have to use it. Yeah. So now instead of so now you would do a so use relay has a very similar API to use effect. Yeah. So basically inside the use relay, you would basically tell it. So you don't have to actually assign it to anything. So inside use relay, you would specify the name of the relay that you want to use. Wait, is it? Why is the typing not being recognized? It's something I'm not sure about. Wait, did we didn't export it?
Okay.
Did I forgot to export it? I wonder. Oh, use message relay is the name of it. Use message relay. I think I should rename it to use relay to be honest. Because the idea is that eventually there's a thing called port. I want to do port relaying as well. But that's a little bit different concept. Yeah, port relaying is a little bit different. I'm not sure how to handle that, to be honest, at the moment.
Got it. So can you explain what this piece of code does?
So basically, it's an use effect that run every time your relay or the relay inside this content script receiving some payload from a web page. And so the first argument is the event or the message handler. The second argument is a handler to do something, right? So basically, you can actually have you can toggle state in here too. You can toggle a state inside the callback to show some UI, to mounting some stuff on top of the web page, so on and so forth. You can do some cool stuff like that. Yeah. And yeah, you don't have to even.
Got it. So
you can basically what I do is to render, right? You can render out the val, and you don't have to worry too much about the button clicking.
what button clicking?
So right now, right, the val is being console log when you
Oh
click.
yeah,
Right?
no, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, you just like rendering it out.
State. Alright, cool. Let's
Yeah, def next. There's a no def next. Yeah. Oh, actually, the dev class.
I ran dev here.
Yeah.
Do,
it seems like it should run both. It should run both. Yeah, run dev should have run both.
Cool.
Try 1947. See if it
So
goes
let
in.
me. Cool. That's in there. And now I do localhost 1947. There we go. Okay. There's a content script, right?
Yeah.
This is a content script.
Yeah.
Now I click this. And it doesn't look like it did anything.
Because does it match? Does it match the website? I guess by default it should match. By default it should just match every all website for the content script. I mean, it's running there, yeah.
Let's see. So it seems like it does relay, but I don't know if this code runs. Yeah, this code doesn't run. Any idea why? What am I doing wrong?
It looks correct to me, yeah. The U message relay hook basically taking the name and then on message.
Our Twitter viewers spot a critical flaw. Any comments on there? I don't have the stream open. So.
There's no.
Let's see if it's some weird thing with nested.
Is there there's a relay on that? By the way, are you sure that you are using the right one? Is that on the tab?
Which
Is that on the,
right one?
is that on the tab page? Is the standby relay being run on the tab page?
No.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, on a
It
page.
shouldn't run on a tab page, right?
Yeah, it should run on the page. Yeah. Standby relay.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to do here is like it's some easy way for me to just move this button down.
Oh, just do a style. You can also move. You can also move the CICY stuff as well. That would be easier.
All right, let's do that. Yeah, I'll do like,
Yeah, like top 100 or something. Oh, but it's not a string, rather. It's an object. And the 100 can be a number. It can be a number.
awesome. That should be on.
No, nest. So yeah, when you assign object to a property, you have to do double bracket. The first bracket escape.
Yeah.
Let's see if I do it. Because you have to do like 500 or something. Wait, what?
Weird. And on there.
No idea.
Position static property prevents top 100 effect.
Just do a transform then.
Okay.
Transform and then do translate. Translate Y, and put it like, yeah. Oh Lord, where does it go?
Now it doesn't go. 20px.
And then just go up or something.
I have no idea where it went. Oh yeah, because Y is up. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, there we
Yeah,
go.
okay. I'll just make it 200px. Alright, there it is. And then, okay. Let's
funny.
figure this out. So this is not. So now I'm actually not getting the console logs. I'm not getting the console logs right now. I'm sending amazing thing over here in my. Let's relay this. Oh, do you think only one relay can exist?
Yeah. Huh.
So I can't click this button because I guess this is in the way.
Just do. I don't know. Cursor 0 something.
The dots. Okay, so I want. I have this.
Do cursor. Do pointed event 0. No.
I want to.
Just do pointer event. Pointer events.
Okay, I didn't know that. Prevents none.
Yeah, and it has to be a string.
Okay, that barely works. Like if I hit it in the right place, it'll work.
That's
I
funny.
just use just goes to show like how difficult it is to build an extension. Jesus.
Yeah.
Um, let me get rid of this stuff. Then here I'll just because buttons. Why is the
Maybe
transform still working?
maybe the CSAY has yet to be reloaded or something. Hmm.
Yeah, so this relay thing doesn't seem to follow the function.
Hmm.
Okay, it's something I guess we'll look into. I don't know if I'm doing something dumb here or if it's like some issue with the underlying implementation. But yeah, okay, cool. So we talked about the relay. Lewis, you want to talk a little bit more about kind of this port stuff? What's going on here? What are ports and why is this interesting? Why is it good?
So the difference between the port messaging API and then the message API, the message handler, is that port API can be used for long, long, long-lived communication. So message API is like a one-shot communication, right? You send one message to the downstream background service worker. It ping back some stuff, right, to your content script or your extension page. So it's very similar to a RESTful API, but for port API, it's more like it's like WebSocket API, right? So you open the port, and using that same port, you can send message over and over.
Got it. And so what is this data thing?
The data is the latest response coming from the port.
And because we use this hook,
Yeah,
does that mean that when the port has new data, it will run this function again?
it will re-render
and
it. Yeah,
rehydrator component?
precisely. It will re-render the new states every time there's new thing coming in.
That's awesome. I think that that is exactly what we want, right? Like it just makes things a lot easier. That's super cool.
Yeah,
I
and
really
then
like that.
if you want to capture the state, right, you can just have a use.
Now,
You can use a use effect, that watch over that value data dot data, and then every time there's new data, you just push into it an array, right, that you can control. Yeah, and that's one way to actually managing or capturing the states of the port if you want to. For example, if you're making a chat app, for example.
right. So you're talking about kind of like capturing the historical data, like what was the data before, not
Precisely.
just the latest.
Precisely. But the data in of this port, right, would always reflecting the latest data. Or the latest response coming from the coming from like whoever is responding to it. And in this case, likely messaging, likely from the background service worker at the moment.
Right. Yeah. Nice. That's awesome. Um, cool. So we covered relays. We covered send and background server. What was it again?
Send the background.
Um,
We have message API.
Send to background. Yeah. Sorry. Send to background relay port. Um, what is what kind of other stuff Any other cool stuff here, or did we cover most of it?
Yeah, I think we pretty much cover most of the thing at the moment that we have. We are releasing this API as like the V0, right? The V0 API for public review, and also I think is yeah, yes. And it's also quite, by the way, the table is there. It's a little bit incomplete at the moment because we also want to cover more cases, but we haven't designed for those cases yet. Yeah, there are cases. For example, you want to have apparently you can actually send message from a background service worker targeting a certain content script, right? By providing the tab ID
Right.
of the content script. But
Yep.
I haven't thought about a good API to do that yet, or what kind of abstraction would make sense with Plasma, or maybe people just do it raw, just do it by themselves, Yeah. Because like in many cases, if Plasma cannot really abstract away the pin, then people should just use the raw API. That's kind of in my opinion. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think for a lot of people's use cases, this is gonna significantly help them out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess we're gonna have to think more about the other way around, right? How does the background service worker communicate with the tab? Like tabs.send message rather than runtime send message and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, super cool. Okay, here's the pop-up, by the way. So send to background, and then you can send transaction. That's one of our messages. And it'll send this straight to, so you like with pop-ups and content scripts and all these other kind of extension components, you don't have to use a relay. You can just send directly to the background. It's just in cases where you have an external web page that is not your extension that wants to talk to the background, that's when you have to use a relay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, super cool stuff. All right, cool. So, Louis, how can people find out more about this messaging feature?
So we're working on the documentation. We hope to launch it soon. The doc, I think there's a staging branch. There is a PR on the doc right now that's being worked on, and hopefully we'll get it down. We'll get it done by end of week. I'll be out this Friday though. But yeah, I hope to get everything done by tomorrow. That's my goal. Yeah.
Do we have, just refresh my memory, beta.docs.plasma.com?
We do, but
No, we
that
don't have that. All right.
I thought we had that. So I guess. Huh. Never mind.
I thought we had that as well. We apparently don't, but if you want to see the staging version, you can go to our GitHub. We have a docs repo. That's where all our docs are. They're all open source. And if you go to the pull requests and you see that this latest pull request, you can click on visit preview here, and that's going to take you to a preview version of our new docs. So you'll see the new docs. They're still work in progress, but that's the kind of latest. And Louis, once you push your changes, I don't think we have messaging in here yet, but once you push your changes, anyone looking at this can see the new messaging features. Yeah, so that's cool. And the other thing I would say also, Louis, is the with messaging example.
Yeah.
So that's what I just pulled when I did npm create Plasma.
Mm-hmm.
You can take a look at all of the different ways you can use the messaging feature. Awesome. All right, so just to wrap up messaging, it's a really cool thing. It's going to help a lot of people out. And if you're using messaging and you're finding it difficult, you may be using this relay stuff and you want to clean up your boilerplate and you just want everything to be a lot more well-structured. You're already using Plasmo, I think it's a no-brainer to start using this feature. Awesome. Cool. So next up, we have the stuff around env files. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that, Louis?
Yeah. I want to go to the changelog just so we have something for people to take a look. Or should I go to discussion view?
Yeah, let's do discussion view just because there really isn't anything I should screen share.
All right. So one problem that Itero customer brought to us recently was they actually want to uh, they want to have a more complex build process for the extension. Some extension have much more complex build process where they actually fetching data, fetching resources from some sources to embed that into the extension, right? So these resources are not necessarily secret, but the key that's needed to access to access these resources would need to be a secret. And so a lot of time the secret actually is in the form of a JSON key, especially when you use, like, for example, Google Cloud, right? Google Cloud would have a JSON key, for example. But then when you including JSON key inside the environment file, the Itero platform previously, or the Itero product previously did not handling the JSON key very well, and so it broke the argument and crashed the builder. So we shipped a fix to that last week to actually we normalizing the entire environment variable so that we also actually like we found certain restriction in terms of the size of the environment variable actually. Yeah, there's a payload size for each parameter that can be sent to our cloud builder. So we properly kind of show the length restriction on the environment. Yeah, it's about 2,400 characters. So yeah. Anyway, with that in mind, the cloud builder is now working, and we tested with like JSON key and so on. It seems to be working just fine. Yeah.
Nice. The other thing that that we have for Itero. So if you guys don't know, Itero is this product suite that we launched about like a couple weeks ago. It makes it super easy for you to be able to iterate quickly on your extension, make sure that there aren't any bugs, make sure that people are actually enjoying the products and the features that you ship out without a review process, right? Because one of the big things that we're seeing is a lot of extension developers, and we actually faced this when we were building our own extension. If you want to get beta testing, you always have to go through a review process on every update. It's super annoying. The review process can take from 1 day to 1 week to 1 month. It's very sporadic, depends on kind of a lot of different factors. And we thought, when you're actually going and testing your extension, you want to be able to test very efficiently. So we completely get rid of the review process, allow you to ship directly to your beta testers all your extension without any drag and dropping zip files, without going through a review process, nothing like that. And the cool thing is we have integration features. So we have an integration to GitHub. So whenever you make a push to you commit something to your GitHub repo, it'll automatically build your GitHub repository. It'll automatically build your extension, and it will automatically upload it to our web store called the Itero web store. And then it will actually automatically push it to all of your beta testers without a review process. So now you get, on every commit, you can iterate, and you can get your beta testers to use your extension, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, we have these tiers. We have like a starter tier, professional, enterprise, and what was happening was each tier has a certain amount of seats that you can have in a team, and we previously had it be static. So like for a professional tier, it's 3 seats per team. But because we kind of got some customer feedback that this one customer, their team was a lot bigger than 3, so they needed a way for them to buy extra seats. And within 1 day, we cranked out this feature and we shipped it out the door. And that kind of shows how quickly we can develop and respond to feedback. So if you guys have any sort of feedback, like you want to see something in the framework, you want to see something in Itero, you want a new feature implemented, you want new integration, let us know and we'll get it done super quickly, because because we're really fast in developing, and we're really passionate about extensions, and we just want to make the whole ecosystem better. So yeah, like Lewis, that messaging feature, I feel like that was quite complex, yet we were able to get it done in about a week or two. So that's the biggest one. And I see Gaten talking about state management, and we agree. And hopefully we'll get something good there, and potentially all the different tools like Redux and so on. Maybe we need to make our own Redux Plasma HQ um, slash I don't know, Illinois, because it's a state and it's my favorite state. So maybe we'll call it that. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, cool. Hey, Louis, it's been an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I think this might be the longest stream we've done. Any like closing remarks on your end?
I'll say that a lot of stuff that we built is actually for ourselves as well, right? You know, that's why we built them so fast.
Exactly. I think like, you know, when I think about all these different projects, like one piece of feedback I got from a friend of a friend recently was the documentation that we have is pretty good. And I think the reason why it's pretty good is because we use it all the time. And we're not like some people that are so far removed from the project, and then we're writing about these like kind of very theoretical things. Like, no way, we're constantly building our own extensions, constantly using our docs and so on. I think like Silicon Valley has a word for this, which actually I don't like, but like we eat our own dog food, right? Speaking of dogs, Louis, I know it's something that you find really annoying, those dogs that live next to you, but yeah, we're doing dog fooding, and we always try to see like how we can improve our software and so on. So yeah, we'll just keep doing that.
You know, like I feel like if we eat their dog food, they shut up actually. So that's a good solution.
I feel like they'll get mad. They'll be like, "Dang, why is this guy eating my dog food?"
Oh, that's
like,
true. Yeah, they might bark even louder. Yeah, that's true. You're right. Okay. All right.
Maybe you need to give them dog food. Maybe that's the solution.
Perhaps, yeah. The thing is, they actually are pretty useful too. You know, they usually bark maybe when there's a stranger around. Oh, thank you. Yes, it's gourmet.
Yeah.
Hey, how about a dog gourmet or something? I don't know. How do you call it? Eating your own gourmet.
Yeah, gourmet.
Hmm.
Eating your own gourmet. Eating your own caviar.
Yeah, I guess so. Caviated. Yeah, but by the way, the bug that we saw on
Caviar.js.
Caviar.js. By the way, the bug that we saw just now with the relay stuff, I'm not sure, but we might have to debug that eventually. We have to take a look at how to reproduce it, or at least, you know, like kind of isolating just that incident and see what is going on. Yeah. Because by the way, I also couldn't see your screen very well.
Yeah. Hey, Louis, I have it here. Oh, all good. Yeah, I have it on my local. So, how about I submit I'll create a GitHub repo, and then that can be our repro, and then I'll file an issue, and it's gonna be the best issue you've ever seen, and then we can debug from there.
Yeah, you can also. The thing is, you can also send
cool.
the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
We have the Plasma test repo that I used to find the bug as well, to find this bug. Yeah, but maybe not. Maybe just do it separately.
I'll put in the bugs directory to the repo.
Yeah. Anyway, sounds good.
Yeah.
I think we're good to go.
Well, anyway, thanks for watching, folks, and we'll see you next week. The recording will be up in case you miss anything. Other than that, take care. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully, you guys will tune in. Maybe you'll be eating some Christmas dinner or something. But you know, we don't mind having a little bit of turkey as well. So maybe we'll be eating some Christmas dinner too. Anyways, take care. See ya.
See ya.